Final hour overdrive continues. Brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Bryan Hayes, Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles, McLennan. Into hour 3 here. Still no news on Shohei Ohtani. I guess the Jays have, everyone's out of Nashville. It's over. Winter meetings are done. Shapiro's flown home. Sounds like Atkins is right behind him. The media's on their way out. I'm assuming Ohtani's in L.A., but it does sound like this Juan Soto to the Yankee deal is effectively done. So
I knew they were going to creep up and get. They were not going to sit on the sidelines and say, "We're not letting this happen and not be a part of it."
Yeah, it's concerning. I mean, they traded a bunch of pitchers, a young catcher who's been up with the team for a while, and now you got Soto, who I assume the Yankees will acquire and sign. Right? Like I'm guessing they'll give him a monster deal, and he'll pair up. It'll be him and Aaron Judge for the next 4 or 5 years, as hitting 2-3 in the lineup, and that is terrifying. Like if Judge is healthy, it's terrifying.
Would it surprise you, Hayes? Think of a team. It's kind of not. It's not that difficult to predict who it would be. Who could come out of left field and make an Ohtani offer that would just blow everyone out of the water? Because the owner is kind of. Like, it would not shock me, man, if the Mets just came off the top turnbuckle. And I'm telling you, man, like, Cohen could just say, throw it all at him and see what he says.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like they're going after that Yamamoto, the pitcher that's coming over, who's like a rock star, and it sounds like he's going to get a monster deal. So that appears to be the focus of the Mets. I guess reporters have been indicating that Steve Cohen himself flew to Japan last week to meet with him. The Mets have the money. They do it. I just don't think Ohtani wants New York. Like, that's what it sounds like, is that he has told some people that New York's not for him. Yeah, he's not interested in New York. So that takes him out of it. But Juan Soto, I mean, that's a different beast. And truthfully, over the next decade, Soto very well could be more valuable and supply more production because he's younger. And he's not as good as Ohtani in what he's been the last couple of years, but he's not far off. Soto is a stud, man. He is a stud.
Could Stanton be in there as well? Like, if Stanton's like he's near the end, right? Like
just got nothing.
He's Forrest Gump. Like he's Forrest Gump with the stilts on.
Yeah,
like he can't run.
Move,
right?
Man. He has got to be the slowest guy in professional sports. There's no way there's anyone slower than Stanton. Like
Alejandro Kirk beat him. It's close.
Dude, watching Stanton coming down the stretch, it was a strikeout, and it was embarrassing. I was like, how can they continue to watch this?
Didn't he hit 20 jacks though? Like, I think he had 23 this year, didn't he?
He'd still poke some home runs, but it was either a home run or a strikeout, basically. Because
he's not running out a single.
No, if he chopped anything in the infield, it was just an automatic out. Like, he'd just start walking to the dugout. But that's another reason why they couldn't get in on Ohtani, because he's DHing. They got so much money tied up in him, and Ohtani only DHs. So that's, I think, a part of the issue with the Yankees. But yeah, it sounds like it's over, man. It sounds like Soto's a Yankee. And yeah, you knew they were going to come alive. And what this does for the Jays now is, if Ohtani doesn't sign here, like if it gets announced he's going to the Dodgers or back to the Angels, and now Soto's with the Yankees, and if this Yamamoto, who apparently the Yankees are in on too, they end up signing him, it's like, what are the Jays going to do? Like, what are they going to – obviously, they're going to stay active. They're going to have money left over. They will sign guys. They will look to be active in the trade market.
What a sag, though, dude.
Oh, it's going to be crushing. If Ohtani doesn't come here and you realize, wow, Juan Soto is now a Yankee, and Baltimore's already the best young team in baseball. The Rays do it every single year. They're competitive. It's only a matter of time before Boston snaps out of it. It's like, man, this is a window, and you kind of need to make something happen here.
Well, I mean, is there other – I mean, it goes Ohtani, then Soto. What's the next biggest name like that they'd be swinging at? It's a big drop-off after that, correct?
Yes. It's, Cody Bellinger's a guy that's out there, obviously. Joey Votto is obviously not a production, but 40. He's a name. Yeah, like the production's not going to be there for Votto, but his name, people would be excited with. I could see gratuitous, Votto signing just to get people off their backs, It's like if you miss out on Ohtani and obviously you're not trading for Soto, it's like, here's Joey Votto.
No. That's a perfectly
That's a real
timed
laugh
drop.
from Joey Votto. I still can't believe that happened.
Yeah.
Joey, do you going to go down to the games at the Dome?
Yeah.
I don't think so. And then
No. It's like mocking us.
It was. He was
awkward.
openly mocking the question. Like, I thought it was a nothing, albeit not, journalism 101, but we're just having a conversation with a guy. We're just having fun talking about his life and baseball. Hey, you're from Toronto. You love going to the Dome as a kid. You're back home. You think you get down and watch a game in the playoffs? Laughter.
Yeah. It's just
maniacal
garbage,
laughter.
No. That was a corny interview, man.
It was a weird
all
one.
the interviews, I was like, pull the plug on this, please. It just got really goofy.
Yeah, but we'll see. I mean, maybe he ends up a Blue Jay, and maybe he comes back on the show. I don't know. He may not want to. Like he's a deep guy, man. Joey Votto's he's a bit of a different cat, but he does a lot of media. I think he wants to get into media, and we'll see what comes of it. But anyway, everyone's buzzing about Ohtani, right? Everyone wants to know. Who knows what? Like, again, I was dropping my kids off at school today, and I had a couple of dads be like, "You hearing anything? What's up with Ohtani?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Like, I don't have an answer. I don't even know the dog's name. I don't even know, anything about this guy or what he's going to do." And obviously the Jays are in on it. But we caught up with the GM of the Maple Leafs, Brad Treliving, a little bit earlier this afternoon. And, Tree's a pretty connected guy now, right? He'd be rubbing elbows with some big shooters down there. Obviously, Rogers is a part owner of MLSC. I would think Tree could probably send a text to someone and say, what are we thinking? What are we hearing? And we caught up with Brad Treliving again earlier this afternoon, and we began by asking him, do you have any insight? Can you tell us anything about Shohei Ohtani?
No, for the amount of dough, I was wondering if you could play on the right side of the fence and maybe third line center and take a few draws for that type of dough. So, no, it's exciting though. Hey, it'd be awesome. I know they're probably working at it, and the fact that they got a seat at the table here right now, it sounds like it. Hopefully there'll be good news.
Well, I'm curious, as a guy who's been in that situation before, obviously in your own sport, like when you're dealing with a star or a superstar, the ground rules that are put in place. In other words, how secret it's going to be, when you're going to meet, how often you're going to make contact. Is that generally the player and the agent that drives those parameters, or do the teams have say in that too?
Well, it's a little bit of both. At the end of the day, when you're going through this process, and again, I don't know all the rules as it relates to Major League Baseball and how they may be similar or different from ours, but at the end of the day, the agent and the player will have sort of a process they want to go through, and then obviously you want to conduct your business quietly, it's not always the easiest thing to do. Certainly in different markets where there's more media attention than others, but for the most part, they'll outline sort of a process that they want you to go through, and as difficult as it is for fans and followers and the media, as everybody wants to know what's going on, quieter is always better, and to try to conduct things as quiet as you possibly can, and you follow the lead that they set forward. So it's probably not. It doesn't shock me that things are. You don't want necessarily. The players don't necessarily want the whole world to know who's involved in this process, and inevitably there's going to be hurt feelings with somebody at the end of it. So this is probably not unlike a lot of the situations that are out there.
Well, and this obviously is an off-season one, a free agent one, where you're dealing with an in-season contract scenario here with William Nylander, where you and the Leafs have been really public about how you feel about Willie, what you'd like to happen. Willie's been very public in terms of reciprocating that and him wanting to stick around. I'm curious how you feel. Nylander's handling this, because the noise obviously is crazy. I mean, this is your first experience negotiating a big deal in season. Here's the GM of the Maple Leafs. How do you think Willie's handled the noise, and how are things going on that front?
Well, it's going well. I think Willie's done handled it tremendously. I mean, it goes to show you. I think he's got the ability just to, sort of, block things out and just focus at the task at hand. And he's had a heck of a start to the season. So I don't think it's affected him. Just managing from our perspective, just managing all the other things around it, right? Like, as you said, there's a difference between an off-season negotiation or a UFA signing when it's necessarily not your player, the player's hitting the marketplace, to a player that's yours and you're dealing it in the season, and you're just juggling the immediate attention's got to be directed towards the ice and the games and the performance and the team performance, and you try to separate that from business and us as the management, the coaches and the players got their job to do on a daily basis, and us as managers try to work as quietly as we can, off the ice to try to get business done. So I think Willie's handled it tremendously. We continue to, I guess that's probably a quick segue as an update there. I'm not going to get into a whole lot other than say we continue to work at it. And, I remain, consistent with what I've said during this process. We'd like to get him signed. And, it's got to work for everybody involved. We continue to hammer away at it. And our hope is that we'll get to a good conclusion.
Tree, I know you've worked in Canada, but what did you think of every day with every goal he scored, waking up and a new number attached to Willie and all the attention in Toronto it got, or just the attention in general? It is another Canadian market, but is it still different than Calgary?
It is, though. Like, I'd be lying to you if I said it wasn't, and you try to insulate yourself. The great thing is you hear this all the time. The great thing is that there is that passion here, right? Like it's Calgary, similar, right? A Canadian market where the game means so much, and I think it's similar to all the Canadian markets and some of the some of the U.S. markets, the original 6 markets where the sport is big. But there's just so much volume here, right? There's just so much volume here with the number of people that follow the team. But that's, to me, it's a great thing. It goes to show the passion of the fan base. Now you have to manage it. So you try to insulate yourself. You try to block everything out. It's sometimes easier said than done, but you just focus at the task at hand, and you can't get too high, you can't get too low, and you come in and try to be steady at the wheel each day. But as I said earlier, in the case of Willie, is you just stay focused at the goal at hand, and that the goal is, from a business perspective, is to get him signed. You try to eliminate as many obstacles for Willie as you can, and just have him singularly focused on doing what he's doing on the ice and playing well and helping our team have success. And but it's certainly there's some challenges, but when there's that much attention, it means that people care. And so that's the cool thing about being in this market.
We have Brad Treliving, the GM of the Maple Leafs. You're 22 games into a mid-season working relationship with Sheldon Keefe. What have you learned about your head coach through 22 games?
Well, I've learned, it probably emphasizes what I learned over the course of the summer of getting to know him. And there's that summer getting to know you phase and spending some time, and then the live bullet start in season. He's a really smart guy. He's a real detailed guy. I think he's got the exact message, the right message for this group. I said before, he's come in, as we just talked about, into a market. His first NHL job is in Toronto, which, if I looked at it, and I just use my personal experiences as being my first time in the NHL, being in Toronto, it could be overwhelming. I think he handles it very well. I think he's got the ability to sort of step back and analyze and not be reactionary and get emotional on certain issues. But I really like the message that he has for our players, and he's steady on the rudder. and I've enjoyed getting to know him over the course of the time that since I first got here. And now that you're in, like I said, now that the live bullets are going, I've been impressed with them. And I did an availability of, I don't know, a week or 10 days ago, and talked about we've all seen it. There's been some inconsistencies, a lot of inconsistency in our game right now, and we've dealt with some injuries, we've dealt with some things, but outside of that, I just our game can be a lot more consistent, and we've seen stretches and pieces of it. The good news is we've been able to bank some points, so that's a good thing. But we're not fooling ourselves either. There's work to be done here, and the first person that's aware of that is Sheldon. So been impressed with him and enjoyed the start with him here too.
Tree, can you help me answer the question I get bombarded with at the store every time I go to Klingberg? So he's done for the year. Just what went into it and what happens next?
Yeah, so effectively, he's done. I mean, he'll be having surgery. Announced it today. And I think it hasn't been a secret for the last couple of weeks. It was he got hurt. He took some time, and then it was sort of in and out, right? He'd play a game, he'd miss a game, he'd play a couple, he'd miss a couple. During that time, we were just trying to patchwork it together to see if we could get some time to rehab it and try some different things from a rehab perspective and from a medical perspective. Then probably a couple of weeks ago, made the decision, let's shut him down here and give him, sort of twofold. Is see if there's a way to come up with a plan, whether it be over the course of a number of weeks is there a way to get him back this season? The more we investigated that, the more we looked at it, the more we and John consulted with the medical staff. It was inevitable. It needed to be done now. And anything else was going to be just patchwork, and there wasn't going to be any clarity. And ultimately for John, long-term, he needs to get it done. And so the decision was made. So what happens now is John will have the procedure. We're still sorting through that, but I would suspect it's going to be at the end of this month. We'll get the details of that here shortly, and then he'll start his rehab. I suspect, again, we'll clarify when we know for sure, but it's probably 5 to 6 months, so his season's effectively done. And so then we work with John to, get through that and rehab him. And then from the team standpoint, we've obviously got a void to fill with John here. And, our defense was an area, and it's not, I'm not discouraging anybody in our group here. It was an area we wanted to try to help ourselves, even prior to John's injury. This obviously is an area that we are focused on. I give a lot of credit to the guys that have come up in Lagus and William and Benny. I think they've played their asses off. They're guys that we anticipated would be playing less roles, but good on them. They've come up and they've played really well. But we got to try to help ourselves there. Now, having said that, you get into the marketplace and see exactly what is available, what fits within, our cap structure, and what's the cost. What's the cost, this team has spent as a team that's been trying to win, not unlike any other team that's trying to win over the last number of years. You spent some assets. And so what's available, what's the cost of it? That can make an impact on our team, and that's the manager's job now, is to continue to work that process and see if we can help ourselves.
Tree, you mentioned banking some points. You're 12-6-4. You still feel your team needs another layer of consistency. With that being said, does that give you a little bit of breathing room with some of the guys who've come up? It doesn't make it that urgent that you need to grab a player right now. And, in that being said, I guarantee you there's probably 31 other managers that aren't offering a lifeline that isn't attached to something an anvil as far as an ask. So is it a balancing act to make sure obviously you are trying to address stuff, but you are dealing, I wouldn't say from a position of weakness because you are pretty high in the standings.
Yeah, it's a balance, Noodles, for sure. Like I said, number one, we're hoping, touch wood, that we've got some help on the way as Lily, continues to recover, and hopefully he's not, hopefully we're seeing a little light at the end of the tunnel there. Hopefully Gio's not too long. So hopefully we can, we get some reinforcements from within, but we certainly would like to add. Now, again, what is that? It's in the best of times, there's not a lot of availability defensemen. Again, this isn't the guy sitting here making a bunch of excuses. It's my job to help our team. It's just the reality of what's available out there and supply and demand. The smaller the supply, the heavier the demand. So we continue to, and we'll just have to balance that. We're not. You got to be careful of how far you chase it to, Noodles, in those cases. And if you're going to spend assets, does it make, what kind of material difference does it make? The one, as you go through these processes, everybody tends to, react, oh, geez, you need this, you need that. Well, through this process, what you found is you found a couple of guys that, probably at the beginning of the year, you weren't necessarily expecting to play bigger roles in your team. And I give, like I said, I give Benny and Legason a lot of credit. They've come in, they've hung in there, they're big bodies, they compete hard. They played their asses off for us. And so good for them. We found some guys that have been able to come in and give us some minutes. Now can we find a way to make ourselves, to upgrade ourselves? And so that's the trick. You're right. The manager group is a real good group. It's a close group, but nobody's out there feeling sorry for us or looking to do us any favors. So we'll continue to look and see if there's something there that, that makes sense, that we can help ourselves. And it's a little unusual. I shouldn't say unusual, but at this early point of the year, a lot of those, we've all seen it, and it's really a function of the salary cap, where you see a lot of these deals, for the most part, they happen more frequently the longer the season goes. As you get closer to the deadline, just because money has been paid to those players, there's less cap implications and those types of things. So those are just, again, not excuses. We got to find a way to see if we can help ourselves, and that's what our staff continues to do here on a daily basis.
Big positive note, though, you got a young goaltender that's helping that deal. What do you make of Joseph Woll and his play?
Yeah, I mean, he's been real good, hasn't he? Again, you're always you try to be cautious with young goalies. It's such a difficult position, as you know. But I mean, he's played some really good games. What's really impressed me, even getting to know him when I first came in the summer, was, obviously he's got the physical tools, right? He's a big guy. He's, at least for me with goaltenders, you can get into the technical aspect. I like it when it hits the goalie, and it seems to hit him, which is good. But he even seeing younger goalies today, there's a lot of technically sound goalies, but just, I think we've lost that battle level, that compete level in a goalie, where sometimes, we've got a lot of, A to B, but, there's not a lot of to C here. This guy just, if he battles to keep it out, and when structure sometimes has to go out the window, and you got to be athletic and competitive, he's that. But most importantly, he's really got that mental makeup. Not a lot of things fluster this guy. And I think at that position, being strong between the ears is so important. He's calm there. He's a laid back guy. Like I said, not a whole lot flusters this guy. He doesn't have too many bad days. So he's been really impressive. And I think, and we saw what Sammy did last year, and we know he can get back to that form. We're going to need both goalies. And like I said, with we've given him probably more work on some nights than we want to, so we've got to clean up some things defensively. But certainly, Joe's had a real strong start to the year.
Brad Treliving, so as we've mentioned, and as you know, and Leaf fans know, you guys are 12-6-4 through 22 games. 5 wins in regulation. Everyone's got a different opinion on what that indicates, what that means. I guess we'll ask you, 5 wins in regulation through 22 games. What does that tell you about your team?
Well, you'd like to win them all, Brian. 5-1 in regulation and put your feet up in the third, but sometimes it doesn't happen that way. Again, I look at it 2 ways. Number one, you've been able to bank points. We're not giving any of them back. But it indicates you also can't just sit here and say, well, these are, things are perfect. We certainly have things to clean up. And I think we just, you take the positives out of it. We've been able to find some points. In some ways we've been resilient. If you look at last Saturday, coming from behind, in some games we've pissed away some points, and in terms of letting people back into it, and then even maybe getting it in overtime or getting in the shootout, but we've made it a little bit more difficult than it should. So I'd like us just to be a lot tighter. I'd like to see us, defensively. I think our team, we've got enough people that can score. That I just like to see us, and I know Sheldon and the staff working at it, and our group is aware of it. That we just got to be a little cleaner defensively. We shouldn't need 4 every night to win a game, and you see that for teams that are competing late in the spring is. Yeah, you need to score, and that's always an emphasis. That we want to make sure that we've got enough offense here. But to me, a lot of our issues have been just being a little too loose defensively, giving up a little bit too many chances, and just taking away a little bit more space and being a little harder to play against in terms of suffocating teams a little bit more. So those are the areas that we need to focus on. Like I said, we'll take the points that we've gotten, but. Certainly there's areas that we know we have to and can be a lot better.
Should be a fun one tomorrow night. Leafs Sens in Ottawa. Good luck tomorrow. Always appreciate you finding time for us. Thank you for doing this, Brad.
Okay, guys. Take care now.
There he is, the GM of the Maple Leafs, Brad Treliving, and Leafs back in action tomorrow night. Feels like it's been a long time. It has been. They haven't played since Saturday night against Boston.
Yeah.
It's
just
a big
hearing
one
him
tomorrow.
say that, Hazy, just got to be tougher to play against.
Mm-hmm.
I almost had a chuckle. I'm like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. He's very clear on what they need to do, right? They need to clean some stuff up, and he's right about, listen, the record, it doesn't matter how you got there. You bank the points, and those are your points. No one could take those away from you. So it's a lot better than the alternative where you can't win anything, and you also know you got to clean something up. The Leafs have banked a lot of points. And there's self-awareness there. They got to get better. They're going to try to get better. And like you said, that's his job to help the team out.
Let's see it, though. Let's see you go into Ottawa and take steps towards being that team. All the things you talk about after every game, let's see you put it into action.
Yeah.
Because God forbid I got to talk about it again after the first period. If it's just loosey-goosey, let's see what happens.
Wow.
They'll show it.
We didn't even get into Sheldon having some words for the team today in practice, right?
Was this break the stick over the bench type stuff?
There was some swearing and yelling. He wasn't happy about the pace and the energy, right? And I think his explanation afterwards was, we haven't played a lot of games lately, a lot of practices. You guys, I'm sure, I don't want to practice this against this guy again. I don't want to do this drill again. I don't want to. Complacency gets, seeps in a little bit.
Yeah.
We're practicing every day. You want to get out there and play. Raptors haven't played since Friday night. They're back in action tonight. Miami's in town. Kyle Lowry's in town. Sam Mitchell will join us. We'll tee up the game. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, we'll get to our best bets brought to you by FanDuel later in the hour. Raptors Heat tonight. Kyle Lowry earlier today said when he retires, he'll retire a Raptor. He'll sign the one-day papers with the team. And Kyle's 37, man. He's been in the league a long time. He's playing a ton. He's playing big minutes. He's really being productive.
Does he want to play beyond this year?
I get the impression that that's the case. And he looks good. He's in shape.
If you can get it, get it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So to tee the game up, to chat about Kyle, among other things, here's our good buddy, NBA analyst Sam Mitchell. How you doing, Sam?
I'm doing good, guys. What's cracking?
Well, we're excited for the game tonight, and I don't know if you saw it earlier, but Eric Spoelstra was really pumping the tires of Lowry, saying he's in great shape. He's playing a ton of minutes, and I mean, what do you make of where Kyle's at, and how much more he's got left in the tank?
Hey, man, I read the quote LeBron James said. He said, Father Time is undefeated. He's trying to give him his first loss.
Right.
So I think Kyle, look, man, when you look at, you don't have to practice like you used to. The travel is different. You don't have to try to play 82 games anymore. Then you look at the money. God, it only makes sense to try to play as long as you can, because once you're done, you're done. And if you're in good shape and relatively healthy, you should keep playing as long as you love the game. And Kyle is playing like he loves the game. He's still playing at a high level. And look, if you're able to still start at point guard at 37 years old, you can still play, man. So Miami's still a good team. They're still a viable team, and Kyle's still a very important clog in that and what they're trying to do. So, hey, man, more power to him.
Mm-hmm. Sam, do you ever wonder why the hell do we have 82 games in the NBA if nobody wants to play them? I do get it. It's about money, the gates, but nobody wants to play them. So why is there 82 games?
Hold on, stop. They say they don't want to play 82 games, but let them cut it to 72 when they start cutting them checks. Look, man, if you're not going to play 82 games, you're going to have to take pay cuts across the board, all the players. And so, look, it's 82 games. That's how we value the NBA season. That's how we value everything about the NBA season, everything built around an 82-game schedule. And I don't hear baseball players poo-pooing about the 160 games they play. Hockey play what? You guys play what,
82?
82, Sam. We play every one of them, too.
And the last time I checked, what you guys do is a whole lot more physical than what we do. So, look, and then when you look at the money that players are making, and guys, think about this. In 2 years, that's going to be another TV contract, and the money is going to increase. So I think Adam Silver and the owners need to wrap them and start training the players coming in today to be prepared to play 82 games. You got to get these guys back into the mindset of playing 82 games. That's why we have the in-season tournament to activate this stuff, and I like where things are trending right now.
Well, I'll tell you what, Sam, I'm getting back into game shape myself, and I might be able to borrow a pair of your dress pants when you're back in the studio because I'll be the same waist size.
Let's do it, baby.
All right, there you go. There's some support. Yeah, the in-season tournament, I think it's worked out as well as it possibly could for the NBA because you got the Lakers in the semis, you got Milwaukee in the semis, and then you got two smaller markets in New Orleans and Indiana. Yeah, not that Milwaukee's New York or anything, but they got Giannis and they won a title recently. I mean, I think it's worked out pretty well, Sam. Like, are you buying into the hype of the in-season tournament?
Yeah, I was kind of one of those guys not really feeling it at first, but after watching it and seeing the floor and how the players have gravitated toward it, how the fans have gotten into it, I love it, guys. I think Adam Silver and whoever the guys that came up with this idea is great. I love the tournament. The fact that we got a mixture of, we got the old guards like the Lakers, you got Milwaukee, who's like you said is a small market, but they got Dame Lillard and Giannis. And then you got New Orleans with two young stars and Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson and stuff. So you got everything that you can ask for in this tournament. You got Halliburton, who's playing at a high level for the Pacers, who upset the Boston Celtics. And, guys, I think the Celtics are going to be sick because I think when they see whoever raises that trophy in Vegas, Kevin Durant said it. You know, he's pretty pissed off that they got beat because, guys, the thing about it, the team that can win both the in-season tournament and the NBA championship at the end of the year, that's going to be something to hang your head on. So I like where this in-season tournament going. I think it's only going to get better.
Sam, what do you make of this Raptors team? Do you think this is exactly where they should be in the standings? Do you think they can climb up? Or is this exactly what they are type of thing?
God, I don't understand this team. I mean, you got three really good forwards. When you look at Pascal, Scotty, and OG, I mean, those three guys can defend. They can shoot the jumper. They can take you to the hole. They can play inside. I mean, they can play. And then you look at Pirtle, a big center that eats up space, that's very reliable. You know, Dennis Schroeder has played really, really well at the point guard position. You know, the shooting, they need some more outside shooting. Gary Trent needs to help them there. The young fella, Grady Dick, is not quite ready to play. But I can't put my finger on it. They need something. it seemed like if they could make the right deal or acquire the right player, it can kind of leapfrog them into the fray of things. But you would think with Scotty, OG, and Pascal, this team should be a little bit better than what the record says right now. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. We're chatting with Sam Mitchell. I mean, it's also the East. Like there's some good teams,
and
man.
The East is down.
Yeah, well, but the weird thing is Orlando's taken off, right, Sam? So like they were a team you could always rely on, kind of being below you. Now Orlando's off to a great start. They're 9-1, I think, in the last 10. And you look at who they're competing with: Atlanta, Brooklyn, Cleveland. You know, I still think they can get into the play-in. It's not going to be any higher than that, but they got to make a decision at some point because they handed out the first overall or the first-round pick in that Pirtle deal, and it's top 6 protected. I mean, that's a nightmare if they miss, Sam, and they hand like the 8th pick overall to San Antonio for Pirtle. I mean, Messiah, something's got to give here soon. They got to make a decision. Like, are you improving here or are you moving off guys? And it's got to happen in the next, I would say, 15 games or so.
So let me ask you this. Does the fans in Toronto have the appetite to start over? Because if you move Pascal and OG, that's what you're doing. You're basically starting over around Scotty. Mm-hmm. And is Scotty that guy? Is he that guy that can win games for you? Guys, look at it. You got Scotty Barnes, you got OG, you got Pascal. Those are 3 really, and I said it, 3 really good forwards with size and skill. I look at the Boston Celtics, and I look at Jaylen Brown and Tatum, and I'm not saying the Raptors don't have a Tatum and Brown, but guys, I don't think OG and those guys are that far away. Mm-hmm. I really don't. Not leaps and bounds when you consider the 3 of them. So I just can't. Maybe it's the bench is something, but you would think with those 3 talented forwards, they would be a little bit better than what they are.
Sam, you coached in the league a long time. What do you make of Darko's disposition? He seems pretty happy. He seems like, positive attitude. How long before his hair is white and he starts swearing in post-game interviews? Like, how long before the league and his players do that to him?
Well, I don't think he's going to get to that, not publicly. He seems like he's got himself pretty wrapped up pretty good and understands what he's trying to do and trying to accomplish. I like his demeanor. When you're a coach, you can't get too high, you can't get too low. But at some point, you got to be able to push that button and get your team more excited. And there are times when you got to walk in that locker room and you got to lay down the law, man, because I just believe those 3 forwards, they should be better defenders, better rebounders, better scorers. This team, those 3 guys should be getting it done. I mean, here you're looking at Pascal, who's sitting there saying, he's worthy of a max deal. OG deal is coming up at some point, and then Scotty Barnes is going to want to get paid after his rookie deal. So, and I often tell players this: really good organizations don't pay players on losing teams. I mean, Alonzo Ball got paid in Charlotte because they kind of had to, right? You got to spend a certain amount of money on the salary cap. But teams that have expectations of winning, it's hard for them to write checks at the end of the year to guys and give them a raise. What are you getting a raise for? For having a losing record? And you got to ask yourself that. So it's imperative that these guys pick it up because I really believe they should be a little bit better. I'm not saying they're the Boston Celtics. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying they're Philly or Milwaukee. But when you look at how Philly's playing, right? Philly's got Joel Embiid and they got Tyrese Maxey. Everybody else pretty much role player. Mm-hmm. You're telling me those 3 guys, Joel Embiid is the MVP, but gee whiz, I would think those 3 guys can make up a lot of ground compared to those 2 guys. So at some point he's going to have to come in and put his foot down and maybe use a few of those swear words in a different language.
You using any swear words on a golf course these days, Sam, or what?
Guys, I've been kicking butts and taking names. I've been beating people out so much money, man. I'm praying that they don't quit. That's my prayer.
Yeah. Sammy, when are you going to invite us down? We're going on 2 years now where you said you were getting us out to Augusta.
I played yesterday.
Get down there.
It was 64 yesterday. Oof. I played yesterday. It's ridiculous how. And it was 59 today, and I have a 12:30 tee time tomorrow because it's going to be 60.
That's quarter zip weather, man. That's fine. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. That's like fall weather, basically.
I like that better this summer.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
I'd rather for it be 60 degrees with a little fresh breeze going rather than to be 95 and hot.
Okay. Well, we'll take anything up here, man. We're playing indoors, Sam. We're not playing outside right now. Good luck tomorrow. We always appreciate you doing this. We'll do it again down the road.
Whenever, guys.
All right, there he is, Sam Mitchell, our TSN NBA analyst. We love Sam.
Does he ever have a negative? I think he had one time where he said he couldn't hit the driver.
Yeah, well, that was like after a surgery
Remember,
or something.
I think one time he was hitting balls while he was talking to us. All we heard was drivers or something.
Yeah, he was. He had a headpiece on, and you could just hear him. He was at the range.
That's right.
Absolutely.
I think he does it in a malicious way. I just think he's having fun, guys.
He stopped.
Play that one more time.
I think he does it in a malicious way. I just think he's having fun, guys.
That is a 5-iron off the fairway.
Yeah, that had some swing speed to it, man. Like, that made a noise. That was not a wedge. He
How
wasn't
many
chipping.
teams got a guy can come off the bench like that and provide a scoring punch?
I didn't
How
hear that
many
one.
teams got a guy can come off the bench like
That's
that?
a chip. That's like a
provide
chip or
scoring
something.
punch.
Yeah, that was a chip because if you listen to the first one, he has to stop talking so he can finish his backswing.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, play the first one again, JP.
I think he does it in a malicious way. I just think he's having fun, guys.
Yeah, that's at least a 5-iron, man. That might be a hybrid or something. That had swing speed on it.
That's
All right.
awesome.
Well, thanks to Sam. We appreciate it, as always. Today's Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Over the number Penguins Lightning tonight. Under the number Stars Panthers. I think that'll be a great game. Florida Dallas should be a great. I could see 3-2, good goaltending, tight checking, and I'm on Vegas money line in St. Louis tonight. Parlay all three, paying plus 435. Today's Best Bets are powered by FanDuel. And FanDuel's goal in first 10 minutes is the most electric bet in hockey and can be included in a same-game parlay on any NHL game. Please play responsibly. 19 plus and physically located in Ontario. I've learned, Doogie tried it again, man. The double sentence, Doogie, and I danced around it, actually.
Wow.
But Doogie tried to
that'll
jam
get
me
you-
up again.
That'll get you swimming with the fishes, Doogie. It'll get you.
Doogie, not good, man. Not good, but I spotted it, and I danced around it, and it's all good. All right, so we got the Raptors in action tonight, a bunch of NHL games tonight. The Leafs are in action tomorrow. You got the Thursday nighter tomorrow. Hayes and Bro on the clock tomorrow. We're waiting for Ohtani and the news of the day in baseball. Juan Soto's a New York Yankee, and that is significant. That is really significant. You're going to see him a lot in the American League East, and I would assume the plan is if you're the Yankees, you've acquired him and you're planning on signing him long term.
Well, dude,
And they
there's
have the
no
money to do
backup
it.
plan anymore.
Yeah.
Like, for people that wanted to shift on Ohtani, there is no plan anymore.
That lasted about 48 hours, right? Like at the top of the list, the Jays in on Juan Soto. They're in on Soto. No, actually, the Yankees are. The Yankees will get that done. And I'm a little bit surprised San Diego would make that deal before Ohtani signs. Like, wouldn't you think that the Dodgers would call or the Jays would call? Like, whoever
With a
misses on
massive
Ohtani.
package.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
But you know what? I give them props for that. This package is what we like it. We're not going to sit around and wait. I just love that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's valid. Obviously, they got what they wanted, and they got a bunch of arms and young pieces, and the Padres, they went for it. It didn't work for them. Now they're cycling through some different pieces. I'll give them credit, right? San Diego, they added a ton of talent, ton of money to the payroll. They went for it. It didn't happen. Now they adjust. That's pro sports. Like, it doesn't always have to be a 10-year adjustment. It can be. Go talk to Buffalo Sabre fans. They lost again last night and got pumped by Detroit. I mean, it's crazy. Like, the Sabres are they're not, it doesn't feel like they're going to turn it around ever.
Yeah, they made a game of it, but they were down.
They were
big,
down
and then
big.
They fought back and almost tied it at the end. That was Tage Thompson's first game back. He actually looked pretty dangerous, but they're struggling. I think they need a goaltender though. They sent the kid down, and it was Comrie that played yesterday. So I don't know. Well,
No, I hear you. What I'm saying is, like, they bottomed out. That was for McDavid. That was 8-9 years ago. And
right.
they
It's
haven't
been a grind,
made it back.
man.
Yeah,
It's been a
it's a grind. Like,
Yeah,
but
you're
then
right.
there's other examples where you bottom out and you get back to the top pretty quickly, or you get back in contention quickly.
The Rangers.
Rangers are a great example of that, right? The Habs are hoping to do that too. Who knows? All right, we'll look ahead again to the Raptors one more time. Tee up tonight's festivities throughout both leagues. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.
Maybe the super panel tomorrow can do some kind of overdrive hit, or maybe I can go see Noodles, or we can connect somehow, because I think we're both off tomorrow.
Yeah, you guys are both in Ottawa, right, for the big super panel where the Leafs and the
Noodles
Sens are
is
playing.
the only one I've ever heard call it that. It's not been referenced at all, but like that.
I feel like Mike Lane may have said something like called it a super panel, or it's put it this way: you've got somebody from Ottawa, Mark Mathot, who's going to have a tight jacket on for sure. And then I think it's you, and is Dregs going? Is Cheryl going? Is Pooley? I don't even know who's on the panel with you.
Dregs is there for sure. I know that. But, it'll be a packed house, man.
Yeah.
That's a great idea, because I'll be in here. I think Feschuk's on tomorrow, so we'll be in here. We'll be doing our thing. And, who knows? Ohtani news? I don't know what's going to happen there. But we'll have Luke on, although we have the pick tomorrow, so Al's brother will be back. We haven't heard from Al's brother in a long time.
This guy's been in hiding. I don't like it.
And kind of convenient, him hiding. Kind of convenient.
I'm concerned, but we'll see what comes of it tomorrow night. It should be a great ball game tomorrow. Pittsburgh, New England. The total, there's some people, I haven't looked at the update, but that think it will creep under 30, which is almost like impossible in the NFL. But if the spread, if the total's like 29.5, I still think it's probably under. I don't see how either team scores, more than 13 points
Might
each.
be less than 20. I've got a feeling it might be less than 20.
I'm with
My
you.
normal thinking would be, as soon as the game's over, get back and watch the second half. I won't even. I'll just check the score. It'll be 10-6, man.
It very well could
be ugly.
Yep. It should be awful tomorrow. So we look forward to that. We'll tee it up, and the Leafs will be in action tomorrow as well. All right. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out today. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in, TV, radio, podcast, web. We appreciate that. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at...
Give El's brother a couple spoonfuls. 4 p.m.
We'll chat then.